I'm gonna call the budget committee to order, and if everybody will stand, we'll have the invitation. Brenda, you want to lead us in?
Most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for all the blessings of life, for health and strength that you give us each and every day. Father, we give you all the honor, the glory, and the credit for it all. We ask you to guide us, and Father, everything that we do, say, or think. And Father, we ask you to give us the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to make the right decisions, and that for this county. Bless all those that are struggling within this county, Father, and help us to be a help in some way to them. Bless our mayor and continue to help him to recoup. And Father, we ask you all these many things in Jesus' name. And amen.
If you'll remain standing, we'll say the pledge, and release.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now we'll have roll call.
Greg Dyer.
Here.
Don Flafford. Here. Larry Lay. Here. Kenny Moore.
Here.
Angela Connor Murphy. Here. Gerald Simmons.
Here.
Cheryl Walker.
Here. Okay, so
Quorum.
we have a quorum. Next on our agenda would be to approve the minutes from last meeting. So, has everybody had a chance to look over those? Okay. Okay, we've got a motion by Dawn to approve. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay. Second by Kenneth. And so we need to take, we don't have to take a roll call, do we? Okay. So all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, so the ayes have it, approved the minutes. Next on our list is the mayor's report. So I started saying Brother Jason.
Well, Sister Cheryl, thank you. I appreciate that very much.
Sorry.
Not a problem at all. All right, folks, just two things to update you all on. The ARPA money, I just want to keep you guys updated on how the spending's going on that. So if you'll just look at the screen really quick, excuse me, the poll pads. This will be under $40,000. We're going to get the bill on that soon, so that will drop that amount a little bit. As I said before, the EMS compression systems. We actually got a quote. I presented that last time. It was $131,000 and some change, but we actually have a sole source letter from that. And what that means, if they provide us with a sole source, that means they're the only company around that makes what we need, so we don't have to bid it. Okay, so that, of course, that goes through the development district. That'll go through purchasing at the finance office, and we'll get that going. So I just rounded that up to show you it's right at $132,000, just a little bit less, a couple $100 less. The sports complex, remember we changed the employee bonus money to capital, and then we're sending this money to the sports complex. I went ahead and noted that. So keep in mind, we are still over on the cost, or on the total. It's $3.8 million, we're at 3.9. We're about, let's say, $23,000 over. But once we get all this stuff in and all the final prices, that will adjust, and I'll have some final numbers for you guys there. And another thing, just to let you know, of course, our ARPA 2, the TDEC water and sewer, these two that are highlighted are both cities, the city of Loveville, the city of Maynardville, so we will simply cut them a check for that when it's time to do that. And then the other two, of course, go through our purchasing department. So just wanted to catch you guys up on that. And any questions on that before I go? One more thing. All right. The next thing, I just want to let you guys know that I'm looking into a new grant for the county. It's a grant through what's called the Appalachian Regional Commission, the ARC. And this is a grant that we've received in the county several times, but actually with all the new money coming into the federal government, ARC is looking to give out additional grants. So I'm actually partnering with a lot of different entities on this, and honestly that helps on your grant application when you do that, because it shows that you're combining different funds to do a much bigger project. So you can see here we're partnering with Tennessee Tourism, Tennessee Agriculture, the CTE program at the high school, the East Tennessee Community Design Center, and East Tennessee Development District. What I want to do with this ARC grant is to basically finish the Heritage Park. That way it's not going to cost the county, it's not cost the county money so far, it's not going to cost any more. So what I want to do with this is the request, and this is just a general list, there's going to be a lot more detail to this, but we want to extend the covered pavilion that's down there. The next one is to move the stage, and let me explain that. Folks, we already have a grant for $75,000 to put a stage down there, but we've held off on that because of the cost of materials and things like that. But now this grant opportunity's come up because so it's kind of worked out regardless, so we can move the stage and connect it to the pavilion, and the ARC money can pay for that along with the partnership with Tennessee Tourism. As I said, we already have $75,000 for that. The completion of the music wall, also to put out the Tennessee Musical Pathways. Just to remind everybody, we have 3 of those that we'll display. Of course, this grant will ensure that everything at Heritage Park is ADA compliant. Also with the kitchen that's there. Of course, the kitchen is owned by the Farmers Market Board, not the county, but they are looking to partner with the high school to do maybe a culinary arts program. Of course, home ec has been taken out of the curriculum at CTE, but they're looking now, instead of more a home ec program, a more culinary arts, as in cooking and chefs and a restaurant and things like that. And that commercial kitchen is set up perfectly for that. So that could be another thing that we can do within this grant. And also we can put in connections for food trucks when we have events down there. Like I said, you're gonna have a stage, the farmer's market, the kitchen there, the music wall of fame and all, or the wall of fame, yes, excuse me, the wall of fame. It'll just be a big tourism draw. I think it will. So and like I said, we should be able to get the money to cover this whole project. And I do want to point out right here, the funding for this grant is up to $1 million. Now that doesn't mean we'll get $1 million, but we will apply up to $1 million. There is a 30% match on that. So if we get $1 million, 30% is $300,000. Now I know that's a lot of money. However, we can apply for another grant, and let me show you this, through the Department of Agriculture, that could possibly cover the match on that grant. So if everything works out the way I want it to, this shouldn't cost us anything. And if it does, I'll come back, obviously before we accept the grant and everything, to let you guys know, to make sure we have the money to cover it. And our capital projects and fund balance is healthy, so I think we'll be okay. But again, I actually talked to the folks tomorrow. I have a conference call with them at 1 o'clock. To present my ideas and see how they think we should approach this. So I'll keep you guys updated, and that's about it. And that's the newest grant we're applying for. So any questions about that or anything else?
On the food trucks, they pay sales tax if they come in, Jason.
The city, I believe, Larry, has some type of code or fee or something that they charge. Of course, the county doesn't, but the city has enacted something, Larry, but I don't know all the details. I think they have to pay
The
it.
reason I said that, I had some restaurant owners in the city, and they kind of said it's taking business away from them. That's the reason I said that.
Got you. I'll be happy to check on it and let you know, but I know the county.
They just come in and set up and take the money back out of town, most of them, so.
All right, I'll check on it. Anything else?
Well, do we have any food trucks in Union County that could actually set up that? Just periodically.
There was one down here, you got in one.
Yeah, that
there's a
tacos.
Taco thing.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
All right, that's all I have.
Okay. Next is the budget amendments and transfers.
Good evening, everybody. I wanted to preface tonight with the budget amendments, the ones that are for the school. The school had to change their meeting until Thursday. So they have not seen these yet. They are going to vote on them on Thursday. So we are voting on them with the contingent that they will be passed Thursday. If some of them don't get passed Thursday, then I will not present those to commission. So I just wanted y'all to be aware that that's how we're doing that this month.
If I may jump in, Missy, the reason we're doing that is to get this done because normally, Madam Chairwoman, we don't meet in December unless you want to meet, and that's why we want to get this done so that school doesn't have to wait 2 months essentially to have theirs approved. So unless you see a need to meet in December, we don't do that. So, all right, thank you.
All right, so page 1 through 4 is Fund 101, the general fund. This request is to remove funds to needed lines within the elected officials' budget, to enter into budget the Chamber of Commerce's actual donation, and I'll explain that one a little more in depth. When we do the budget, we calculate what we believe will be the total of the hotel motel fund, and they get a percentage of it. And this amount came in higher than what we estimated, so we had to make up the difference. This is refunds from other entities. The funds not spent for the FY22 contracts with the government agencies for the UT extension. and to move the library media budget from the circuit court to general sessions court, and to budget the gas reimbursement from the Tennessee Department of Transportation to the sheriff's budget.
Okay, so you've heard the amendments for Fund 101. Do I hear a motion to approve these?
So moved.
Do you hear a second? Any discussion?
I got a question. I know it's not in here. I know we had $100,000 in there for jail employees overtime. Is that running pretty low? Is that it? Do you wonder?
Let's see.
$100,000 for what, Larry?
Overtime.
Okay.
Last year, we put $100,000 because it was way behind and it got caught up. And it's in there again this year, and I just wondering,
I'm showing at this time that we have, the jail has approximately $1,783.04 left, and the sheriff's office has $12,558.20 left, and that is one payroll in November, so we've got the rest of the year to go.
have $100,000?
Yes, that is correct.
Wow.
Did that all go to overtime?
Yep. But last year, did we catch up the overtime with that
We
100?
did. Last year, we were able to
Go
pay
back
out all
here.
comp time, and so there was absolutely no comp time at the beginning of this year. And so at the beginning of this year, we are not accruing any comp time at this point.
But
Everything is
that's
being
already
paid
spent
out.
that. Yeah, they
So
done it.
comp time will go back into effect once this overtime line runs out.
Wow.
So it actually was allotted about, what, $8,300, a little over $8,300 a month would have been for a 12-month period for $100,000, right?
And there's 12,000 left at this
Yeah,
point.
okay. And we're just 4.5 months into the budget.
That's correct.
Any other questions or discussion? Okay, we've got a motion and a second, so we need to take a roll call.
Craig Dyer,
4.
Don Flatford. 4. Larry Lake,
4.
Kenny Moore,
4.
excuse me, Angela Connor Murphy. 4. Gerald Simmons.
4.
Cheryl Walker.
4.
Motion carried.
Okay, page 5's budget amendment goes along with another number on our agenda, which is number 11, so we will wait to discuss that one at that time. So page 6 is Fund 118, the ambulance service. This request is to rebalance the needed lines within the allotted budget.
So do I hear a motion to amend Fund 118?
I'll make the motion.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Any questions? Okay, take a roll call.
Craig Dyer,
4.
Don Flatford. 4. Larry Lake,
4.
Kenny Moore,
4.
Angela Connor Murphy. 4. Gerald Simmons.
4.
Cheryl Walker.
4.
Motion carried.
Page 7 to 14 is 171, the general capital projects. This request is to move unused funds from the Farm D budget back into DAG, to move unused VOCA grant from FY22 into the FY23 budget, and to cover the increased price in the squad cars and the ambulances. And this is the reason that, of course, everybody's encountering is the supply chain issues, but the ambulances and the squad cars were all more than what we anticipated with the budget.
They bought it.
Okay, do I hear a motion to make these amendments to Fund 171?
So moved.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, now any discussion or questions?
Did they buy a new vehicle or used it? You know?
Yes. The ambulance was new, but no, the squad cars were used.
So this is money coming from the fund balance?
The fund balance of 171, yes.
We're
Keep
gonna-
in mind that the 11,351, that was a grant from last year that we just needed to carry over into this year.
How much the ambulance go up, you know?
62,000. And actually, we were very fortunate with that because it did go up. However, we priced with several other ambulance distributors to try to rebid it. And if we had rebid it, it would have been
No.
double. It would have been double. So they could not honor the bid anymore, but we were able to get them down to this price. So, but we did search with other companies to make sure that this was a good deal before we put it on here.
On the motor vehicle, did he take money out of another line item, or did it come out of fund balance?
That one came out of fund balance, yes.
$40,000,
20,000.
$20,000.
20,000 came from another line, we just moved it around, but 20,000 came from fund balance.
Don't we allocate him so much money per year?
We did, but there was not enough allocated to cover the price of the vehicle.
Okay, that's what I needed to know.
Can you tell me how many vehicles the sheriff's got?
I do not have that information with me tonight, but I'll be happy to check on that for you.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Any other questions or discussion? If not, we'll take a roll call.
Greg Dyer,
4.
Don Clifford. 4. Larry Lay,
Or,
Kenny Moore,
4.
Angela Connor Murphy. 4. Gerald Simmons.
4.
Cheryl Walker.
4.
Motion carried.
Pages 8 through 9 are for 141, the general purpose schools. These budget amendment requests is to amend the budget for refunded services by other entities, to transfer funding within the appropriate budget, and to lower the allocation received for the SRO grant. And like I said, I'm sorry, we're approving these on contention that they get approved Thursday night.
So moved.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second to move the funds in Fund 141. Any questions? If not, we'll take a roll call.
Greg Dyer,
4.
Don Flatford. 4. Larry Lay,
or,
Kenny Moore,
4.
Angela Connor Murphy. 4. Gerald Simmons.
4.
Cheryl Walker.
4.
Motion carried.
Pages 10 through 14 are Fund 142, the school federal programs. On the top of page 10 is Subfund 101. This transfer request is to move funds to necessary lines within the budget for program funding. Bottom of page 10 is Subfund 201. This transfer request is to align local government with E-Plan. Top of page 11 is Subfund 301, and this budget amendment is to implement the budget carryover funds. The bottom of page 11 is Subfund 701. This budget amendment is to enter into budget for the current year. Top of page 12 is Subfund 901. This transfer request is to move funds to the necessary lines within the budget. Bottom of page 12 is Subfund 911, and this transfer request is to move funds within the necessary budget. Top of page 13 is Subfund 930, and this budget amendment request is to enter the budget into current year funds. Bottom of page 13 is Subfund 936. This budget amendment request is to budget current year funds. Top of page 14 is Subfund 939. This budget amendment request is to budget current year funds. The bottom of page 14 is Subfund 941, and this budget amendment request is to budget current year funds.
Do I hear a motion to make these amendments? These transfers?
Is it on, I'm sorry, I need a motion.
Motion and a second.
make a motion.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Okay, now we have a motion and a second to make these transfers. Do you have, anybody have any questions?
Is this all transferred, any new money besides?
No, it's all transfers, and the Fund 142 is all grants, so we'll be, all those just come from the state.
All right, thank you. Sometimes I get ahead of myself.
Okay, we need, any other questions? We need to take a roll call.
Greg Dyer,
4.
Don Flatford. 4. Larry Lay,
Or,
Kenny Moore,
4.
Angela Connor Murphy. 4. Gerald Simmons.
4.
Cheryl Walker.
4.
Motion carried.
And we have no contracts and no surplus.
So the next thing on the agenda, thank you, Missy. Thank you. Next thing on the agenda is the changing the meeting time. We said after the meeting adjourned last time that we want to go to 6 o'clock, so just want to make sure everybody wants to, and that I'll need a motion in a second to officially change the meeting time.
We moved to 6 o'clock.
Okay, have a motion, need a second.
Second.
Okay, to officially change the meeting from 7 to 6. So all those in favor say aye. Those opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. 6 o'clock. Next up is the pay increase for the ISO, and I guess we have Judge is here.
You'll hear both.
Okay, what's the last name's Crawford, right?
Samantha Crawford.
Samantha, okay. Sure, those kind
Disrespect, Mayor.
I think you're safe tonight.
I will. How you like it? First, before we get to that, I will tell you, I was not trying to run around the commission on this at the prior meeting. I guess I'm misunderstanding that since we weren't asking for any new money, we were asking to move it, that could just be brought to the commission. So I have a crash course in the Robert's Rules of Order since then. If you're familiar with those, if you're not, I would suggest you read them. And now know that it needs to go here for approval first. I do have, and I apologize, I've only got 4 copies. I was thinking there were only 3 or 5 members of the Budget and Finance, but these are a general list of all the duties that she performed as the YSO, as well as what she has been performing as the administrative assistant of the General Sessions Judge for the past year, year to year and a half. That is a list that her and I came up with. There are duties that will come up that are not on there, obviously, and there are statutes that also list her duties as the YSO. We have those on the commission as well, if you all would like to see those. Again, this was $29,250 set aside. I don't know exactly what year that's set aside by the request of Judge Edmondson. It had been used 3 times. We hired 3 people, or he had hired 3 people. Nancy Sosnowski was the last to perform those duties, and she quit or retired of August 2021. Ms. Crawford has been doing all the administrative duties for that position with no pay, on top of the YSO duties. That budget was approved again in June of this year, or July, whenever you all approved the budget. I was left with the choice of do we hire somebody new, bring them in, train them, trust them with the documents that are confidential, that come through my office, and put potentially, essentially the county at risk for any leak of that information. And my decision, what was best for this court, what I think is best for this county, was what I asked for before, and that's to allow her to continue doing the job she's been doing. We all trust her. She takes this job home with her. And I know this may not be a time to bring family in, but her husband is here, and he could probably tell you that it comes home. It's not an 8 to 4, it's not a 9 to 5. She gets the calls before I do. In fact, this past weekend, on a holiday, Friday night, we dealt with a juvenile matter that ended up, I had to be involved, came in, did what I needed to do. Calls come to her first. That's General Sessions juvenile calls with runaways, or delinquent kids, or whatever it is that need my assistance. She gets the call first. Officer will call her first. She deals with the Department of Child Services after hours. And while the stuff with the juvenile does fall in the YSO, the rest of it is not. She has not one time complained to me or asked me to do anything as far as when I took office September 1st, asking me. She could have came in and said, listen, these are administrative duties. You take them, you run them, it's your job. It didn't happen. This was a choice I made. I hire somebody and the county pays them. We allow her to continue what she's been doing, doing a great job of it. Essentially, could save a little money, I guess, with not having to pay double retirement, double health insurance, double taxes. And that's the best thing for this county. I still think it is. I'll always think that. We discussed before, if she decides she does not want to do it, it would not be a raise on the YSO. That money would be taken back off and it would be back on the budget for the administrative assistant for the judge. She's aware of that. I never in a million years thought that after that vote, there would be as much fallback from it. And I understand you all have probably gotten calls individually with people concerned about the amount that she would be making for performing 2 jobs. And I think some misunderstanding for people that are calling you is it's not a raise on the YSO. It's being compensated for 2 jobs. 2 jobs that money's set aside for. It is a significant increase, I agree. If the county would like to, or the commission would like to discuss some kind of resolution with us, we're open to that. If we don't want to transfer the whole 29, we would be open to talking about transferring at least a portion of that. I would suggest at a minimum of $20,000 of that to take care of those duties. That would leave $10,000 or $9,250 still in the budget. I don't know what you all do with that. It may just sit there, but in my foreseeable future, I don't want her going nowhere. I don't think she intends to, and I hope I'm not speaking out of line by saying that. So it may be something we never have to use that $10,000 for that position. It can be allocated for something else next year.
What are you asking for to be said that now, Judge?
You say that.
You said you was gonna take 10,000.
I said if that's something the commission, I understand there's going to be a vote to reconsider that motion based on that.
I was the one that done that. When I left here and went out, when I hit that front door, I said, boy, that's a heck of a pay increase for one employee. And I called Nashville and I voted yes on it. And I asked them, they said you can make a motion to reconsider the previous motion if you voted yes. And I was the one that had that put on the agenda. And I got a printout of all the employees in the courthouse, deputies and everybody, and nobody makes that bet. And I was worried too, if she was to get sick or something and out, you wouldn't have nobody to fall back on, Judge. That's
may be true, and all due respect, they're performing 1 job on that list right there, not 2.
well.
That's where the misconception is with what I'm asking. We're not asking for an increase in a YSO salary. We're asking for transferring the money that's already been approved. So if she doesn't get this money, I can go hire somebody who I choose. I don't need permission from anybody. And that's what's going to happen. And we're going to pay them $29,250. It's going to be somebody I don't know.
No, I didn't say that now. I didn't say the 29,000. I didn't say not give it all to her, but I thought that 29,000 for one employee, I thought that was all.
All due respect.
I did.
Commission approved that.
Yeah.
I didn't.
They did, but we didn't really get it in front of the budget. It should have been.
It should have been, and that's, I'm new to this.
Yeah.
I'm brand new, had no idea. I thought, hey, I'm not asking for additional funds. I thought, I'm doing a great thing. I'm saving some money here, hiring somebody I trust who's going to do the job that she's been doing. You don't have to rely on anybody else. I know there's maybe been some calls that frankly, that other people are doing some of these tasks. I will tell you right now, the only thing anybody else in this courthouse is doing is taking money. We're not bonded to do that right now. And stamping some papers. That's it. Everything else that she's doing as administrative assistant comes through that office. Phone calls from me, they come to her.
Well, anytime she works over 40 hours, she's supposed to get overtime anyway. Anytime you work over 40 hours, it's automatic overtime. Have you paid her any overtime?
We consider that called
You take off for it?
Mm-hmm. So what would you do if she was out for an extended period of time?
I would have to take over those administrative duties and perform those with the YSO job. I mean, that could happen today. And that would be a bridge I cross when I get there. But as far as the administrative duties, I would pick it up. Barbara Williams, I don't know if y'all talked to her. I talked to her this week several times. She just told me yesterday, advised you that she is fully on board with this. In fact, I went to her before I even suggested this to Ms. Crawford, because I wanted Ms. Williams to be on board. She deserves that, she's got respect, and she's the clerk. So, she told me that yesterday. We had a talk again today. No reason not to believe what she's telling me. It's the best thing for this county here. Because I will tell you, if this doesn't happen, and I'm not trying to put pressure on you, but I'm gonna go find somebody, we're gonna pay them $29,250. I'm not gonna know who it is. I'm gonna bring them in, trust them, train them. And I don't wanna have to do that. It's not,
Well, I didn't say take it all.
I know, and I'm not, you know,
I would just like to make a point. I'm a foster parent as well, so I deal a lot with ECS and the system, and pretty much every single person that works in the same realm that you do, they don't get paid enough. And it's turnover after turnover after turnover, and these kids are getting failed day in and day out. And I know ultimately the money is there. This person that comes in, if they're not going to do the work, we've already seen her work. Travis was voted in and trusted for a reason. He works with her every day. I had a lot of phone calls as well. People were not happy about the amount, which that's fair to say. But at the end of the day, I think people also, they're blinded by the fact that maybe they're not making that amount of money or whatever. They compare themselves, but they don't see the day-to-day. And so I'm just trying to bring some perspective to some of these duties that people would make less money and they're not giving it their all. You're really just failing a lot of children in the process. And that's just my personal view and the way that I see it as a foster parent. So it's a little bit of a different perspective and a different lens.
thank you. And I will say, you know, her comments to me, well, I will say their comments have been made other people that come and told me, you know, she's making as much as an elected official. I will guarantee you, her duties are more than most elected officials in this county. I'm not exaggerating. I've been up here practicing for 12 years now. I've known her for the whole time she's been here. She does extremely a lot amount of work. She's here at, I show up at 7:30, 7:45, the car's parked here. She's in here with Barbara. They're planning their day. They're getting things together. And she's a lot of times here after 4 in the office. Now I know I said she does call after that, she does, and that's on her personal time with you got kids, family, much like I do. I expected that when I took over as judge. I knew I was going to get those calls and all night. I signed up for that. Not sure that's what she signed up for, and she's been doing it with no complaints and no compensation. It's a lot of money, but it's deserving. It's probably not enough, to be honest with you. And I say that as truthful as I can. And there's going to be people that are going to give you pushback on it.
Judge, I voted against the $72,000. It wasn't anything personal.
I know.
It was just, I thought it was out of reason compared to what other workers here in the courthouse are getting. What figure will you come up with that you'll be satisfied? Now, you mentioned $10,000.
No, I mentioned the 10,000 that if we were to compromise, I would be, and we've spoke about it, and if we were to transfer a portion of that, and I talked to CCAS, and they said that's generally what is done in these situations, is maybe we don't pay that person the whole additional salary of the other one. It would be a percentage or a portion of whatever it is. There's no set number. I believe the 29 is earned and well deserved, but I don't know if that's going to make it past the pushback. So that's why we're here tonight, to hopefully resolve something so she can get compensated. We can all move on. The tensions, whatever people have problems, can go away tonight. I don't want this going on anymore. I don't want it affecting her, and I don't know that it is. Emotionally, you know, that wears on somebody. And I don't know what her plans are if it don't happen. I hope she stays, but you know, I don't want to lose her in the position that she's in. That would be a disaster, and I'll just be honest with you. If that happens, we're in trouble.
So she's a state employee, let's say in the daytime, and then she's, you know what I'm talking about. In addition, then she's a county employee on your side. Is that right, Travis?
Is that how they got it? I think the YSO position is a county.
It's a county.
It's county budget.
County,
It's
yeah.
county.
But it's in the juvenile services column of my
But
budget.
is she a state employee? She is a state.
I mean, I get the Tennessee Consolidated Return.
Right.
But I'm not an employee of the state of Tennessee.
So you're a employee of the county?
Yes, sir.
So, okay.
And I
I'm
understand
gonna
what
throw
you're
this out here, and I'm gonna tell you what I think. I'm willing to cap her at $55,000, and we'll go with that right there. I'll support that. Now, of course, I voted no originally, but 55,000 million. Because I've been in the courthouse and I've caught some people, as soon as I hit the door, people were.
You will.
What happened here? Like, did you vote for that? And I said, no, I did not. But, you know,
Again,
if it comes back up, that's what I'm going to do right here.
that's why I'm here. I
This
want to
number
know.
right here, this number right here works for me. But I don't know about everybody
For
else.
one thing, she should be expected to do 2 jobs for one thing, and I've been there, done that.
And what I want, we're elected officials. We're gonna get pushback. We're not gonna make everybody happy with this decision. It could be next month's meeting. We're gonna make some people mad. Things I do weekly on this bench. I'm gonna make somebody mad. 50% of people in front of me walking down this door wanting to find me, go hunt my family down, keep my truck, whatever they wanna do. And it probably will happen. I signed up for that. We signed up for pushback. We're not gonna make everybody happy. It's not gonna happen. And, you know, I welcome people to come in and see what she does. It's not the same job as your normal 8-4, 9-5 courthouse employee. It's just not, there's nowhere near the same task. She is doing more than answering phone calls and filing some papers. That's what the offense, I mean, those jobs are needed. But that is the majority of what the courthouse employees do. And nothing wrong with that, we need them, but they're compensated for that. She deserves to be compensated for what she's doing.
Can
We
we
provided as much as we can as far as just us coming together with just some things that she's doing. And I'm sure there's more. New things come up all the time. Today, we got an email from Nashville regarding juveniles go buy firearms. Well, Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, they have to do a background check, and that comes to the clerks. Well, from now on, I have to approve all that, or my staff does. That hadn't been done before. But some clarification on that. So there's other duties that keep getting added on that aren't just your filing a petition, stamping, taking some money. That is not what this job is about at all.
Can you live with 55?
Judge, can I ask you a question? You can ask. Does anybody ever pick up her slack? Anybody else in this courthouse ever do her job at all? Or does she fulfill both jobs completely?
I do all the YSO duties. Like if somebody asked if I was out sick, what would happen? Well, right now, our assistant to my office, which is the juvenile deputy clerk, she would like answer that phone call or whatever if I wasn't in the office, or if I go on a lunch, she would answer that phone call. So she would take over that if I were not there. But as far as like actual meeting with people, doing the intake duties, reading children and families what their rights are when they come to court, I'm the person that does those duties.
And there's some things on there, sorry, go ahead.
And that's in both jobs, correct, that you're getting paid for? You pretty much perform all the duties of those. And Judge, I guess this question's for you. If you did not receive what you felt like was adequate pay for her, would you back up and give her, just keep her first job and hire somebody like you said at
What I'm
$29,000?
gonna do, that gets voted down this evening. And they will be paid $29,250 plus the taxes, insurance, and state retirement. I don't have a choice but to do that. Somebody's gonna do that job. If it's given to me to hire somebody, I'm not trying to be difficult, I'm not trying to be, out of reason, because I'm not asking for any additional money. In fact, I'm willing to work here. But yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm not asking for a lot, and I promise you in the 8 years that I'm here, I won't come to you asking for a lot. There may be one or two things that come down that I may ask for, but I will not be here every meeting asking for you all to approve something for my office or my budget. But this is the best thing for this county, this court, and this courthouse, in fact, so.
Well, I need to say something. They wasn't nobody call me to pressure me, or I didn't call nobody else. I called one person and asked him what her job was. But when I went out the door, I thought, boy, $29,000 raise. And it is.
It is, and it's simple, but.
But there
again,
are people in this courthouse does jobs too. I know, Mayor Bailey, I know, I've been mayor. It's a 14-hour day job, and he don't get that much more. And the deputies, they get paid overtime if they work with them. We was asking tonight about $100,000, but I just thought it was, and I voted for it.
I know, and I appreciate
And I,
even the opportunity to speak here tonight, and I appreciate the invitation to clear some of this up. And again, I wasn't trying to go around the commission.
Oh,
I
I
knew
know
it
you,
is.
I know you wasn't.
I thought, hey, I'm
You
not
just
asking for
didn't
no
know.
money, I just need to move it over.
Is there
I'll
any
be honest with you, I didn't know there was a
reason
bill.
to maybe shuffle to somewhere else to free up a little per time? And then so you don't have to give her as much pay raise, but maybe shuffle a few things, divide up between someone else? Not real task, I mean, things that take a lot of time, but maybe some little things that she does that just takes her time that she can maybe give to someone else to free up something.
We're talking about hiring somebody else.
Now, is she the only one in the office that
There
does that?
is
Juvenile deputy
a
clerk.
juvenile deputy clerk, she's on maternity leave now, she'll be back the 28th of this month. I don't know what her degree is in or what her qualifications are. She's not, I know she is, but she's not been here since I took office, so I'm not there to see what her activities are. When she answers phones and all this stuff. But as far as the administrative duties, that's been put on Ms. Crawford for over a year now. She's not said a word about it. I took office, found out, and was determined to do something about it. If that means hiring somebody else to take that off her and pay them the $29,250, then so be it. Don't want to do that. That's not something that I'm even remotely interested in.
I know you don't want to do that, but it's a lot of pressure on her, and it takes a lot of her family time in that too. Would it be better just to do that so she has a little more free time, another break? I mean,
I will defer to her on what she
So can you
wants.
be more specific about what you're asking about? So
Okay,
let me go there.
so he's talking about having to hire another person, the 29,000, and to take some of the job off that you're doing, that you're filling. Would that not be better for you, so you don't have as much job responsibility, so it frees up some of your time, so you don't have as much pressure and stress on you?
I understand what you're saying, yes. And like right now, I'll just be honest with you, I'm having to do, for our clerk is out and I'm having to pick up that slack. Yeah, that's difficult, but that's just part of running an office, and I kind of feel like that's what I do. I work very closely with Barbara. I come in and say, hey, I have these additional things that need to get done. Can you stamp this? Can you file this for me? But as far as like pressure, I don't necessarily feel a lot of pressure on that. Like my YSO duties, getting those calls after hours, there's no way to really designate that to someone else.
That's going to happen. We're going
Yeah.
to get those. We know that.
I'm not gonna vote for $72,000,
I know.
but if we come up with a figure.
I mean, I know, that's why I'm here, and that's why I'm willing to compromise. And
Yeah.
I will tell you what I have discussed with her. I was gonna come in here and ask for 20, keep the 9,250, do what you want with it. That'll put her up to 62. I think that is comparable. Actually, I think it's, like I said, it's still probably not enough for what she does. That's where I'm at on it. Still don't think it's enough, but that's where we're willing to compromise to settle this and do the right thing for the county. And this is not just a job for her, and I know that just seeing what she does. She really cares about this office and wants it to run. I don't ask her to come in at 7 and do these things. I'm sure her husband would like for her to stay and help run at the house before 7 o'clock. Doesn't happen. She gets up and does it. It's not complaining to me one time. This is very important to me in the elected position that I'm in. I wouldn't ask for it if it wasn't the best thing for this county.
Can I ask a question? So you have an assistant, it's just a matter that
She's a juvenile deputy clerk, and I'm not a clerk. So while she has been on maternity leave, I have been filing, scanning, doing all those things.
I got all that.
Yeah.
But you do have an assistant in your office.
Oh, yeah, there's an additional person. She's on maternity leave.
And I'll say that that's comparable to what the other Samantha does is comparable what to the other clerks do in this courthouse, if that makes sense. So I don't look at Samantha as a clerk who just takes your money and stamps your papers. That's not what she does. In fact, she's a YSO, she's a youth service officer under statute. She's not a clerk. She's a vital part of this juvenile system in my office. running it smoothly, so that I can do the things that I need to do to make sure the courtroom is run like it should be run. It takes a lot off me, and I don't want to have to depend on somebody that has no clue what they're doing to come in here and do it.
And anytime any of the other courts ask for my help, like with the technology, because let me tell you,
She's the first one.
has been,
Um,
since the pandemic, the technology has changed for what needs to be done in here and into the courtroom.
And I want to
And
thank
I'm
the
happy to
commission and the
help.
mayor for, if you all approve this, because now we don't bring inmates up there, right, we do it on this technology. It's perfect. There's a safety risk in that, don't have to worry about transport costs. So, if you all had a part of providing some of this, thank you.
Does anybody else have anything? Now, at this point, do I entertain a motion?
What was the question?
I'm gonna make a motion,
Go ahead.
I'm gonna make a motion to reconsider the previous motion that was made in county court. And I'm
Okay.
Do you have a minute, or you just?
Well, we gotta have a second
No, I ain't
first.
gonna-
Yeah.
County commission hasn't worked that out, but I'm gonna make a motion to reconsider the previous motion. It's $72,000.
Okay, so do I
Yes.
have a second to that motion?
I'll say.
Okay. Sorry. Potential spam.
You're still on.
Yeah, I think it's,
Yeah.
whoever was ready.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, are we gonna take a roll call vote on this, or just all those in favor?
I would do a roll call.
Roll call. Okay.
Craig Dyer,
Nay.
I'm sorry,
Nay.
Don Flatford. For. Larry Lay, Kenny Moore,
No.
Angela Connor Murphy. Gerald Simmons,
4.
Cheryl Walker.
I'm gonna say 4.
4.
Yes.
4 to 3. So
You got anything else, please?
Correct.
4 to
Where does that leave me tonight?
3 nays for.
Go ahead, go to court. If you can agree on something tonight, we can recommend it.
Disagree on something, because I want phone calls, I want the animosity with
I
others.
think we need to have something to take to county court. If we're gonna send this motion, to redo this motion and reconsider it, we need to have something to submit to county court to discuss anyways.
And my hope is that Budget and Finance we can come up with something to where you all can say, listen, we recommend this, it's a done deal, we all go on. Worry about bigger issues in county.
I move that we reach out to 55,000 and see.
Okay.
Second on that.
Okay, we've got a motion on the floor for 55,000, to get, her salary goes from 43,410 to 55,000. We'll have to hear a second to that motion.
I'll make a second on
Okay, we have a motion and a second, so we'll have to take a roll call.
Craig Dyer,
No.
Don Flatford, Larry Lay,
that. Or
Kenny Moore,
4.
Angela Connor Murphy. Gerald Simmons,
4.
Cheryl Walker.
4.
Motion passed. 4 to 3.
So that'll be the recommendation we'll take to the county court.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
You all keep the.
thank you.
Okay, next on our agenda is Scott Lanzon about the police officer. Oh, a budget amendment, okay. So,
Well, and here's another question, and
Don't do this.
I wouldn't, and let commission approve it. Here's another thing, by rescinding that motion, I don't know if we can do it in budget committee because it was made in county court. So we may have to go back, let me check on that, but regardless, a motion has been made to set her salary at
I didn't
55,000.
rescind it, I just reviewed, motion to review.
Oh, you said
You
review?
should rescind. You said-
Well, I mean.
Reconsider.
Yeah.
Okay, well, but regardless, I
You
mean,
can't do that in court. I mean, here.
What have you got
I can
down?
review it though.
Reconsider.
Reconsider? Okay. Well, regardless, the motion was made for 55. Judge Patterson's on the agenda for that, and so he can make that recommendation. And again, CTAS will be there to clear up all the other stuff we've got going, so we'll make sure we do this correctly, okay? All right.
So he will be at the regular county court.
Yes, ma'am, he is on the agenda for that as well,
So
yes.
we will do this, no.
If that can, if it is approved at county court,
We'll
that,
make that
yes,
time.
ma'am, that can be approved then.
So, next up is the police officer seniority raises.
I got a call saying he couldn't be here, the sheriff was gonna speak to it, and I don't think the sheriff is here either, so.
Okay, so Jackie Nice
Move
isn't
on.
coming either?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Can
Okay.
we discuss that?
Well, we'll put that off till July.
Well, we just, they got a 6% raise the first year, and they're fixing to get $35,000, $3,500 plus $1,000. And I
Yeah,
can't
did
see giving
everybody
them a
get
month.
that though? Did everybody
All the
in the jail?
deputies, yes, they are, all in the jail,
They're-
I was
deputies.
told they didn't all get it.
They all
So I'm
did.
confused.
Let me, can I jump in,
Yes,
please,
please.
Madam Chairwoman? I actually received it was from Commissioner Bowles who made this motion. He brought me, basically a list of all employees that he wanted included in that motion. What I'm doing right now, it's employees from EMS and from the sheriff and from the jail. Andrew has his list right now to verify and sign off that that is correct. Billy is going, I've got it right here, literally. Y'all can see I had it here for Billy. I'll get it to him. He will verify, and these will go in your packets that are mailed to you or emailed to you before county court, so you can see exactly all the names. But I don't want to hand them out until the department heads have verified that these names are correct. But you will be getting these in your packets.
How
So
many
that's on this-
employees?
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
How many employees was the $3,500 they voted to give
Well, hold
35?
on, right here's the resolution. I can pull it up for you.
Okay.
All right, so I'm just going to read it out loud. A motion was made by Mike Bowles, seconded by Bill Cox, to give 29 Sheriff's Department employees, 16 jail employees, and 10 EMS employees that were employed during COVID, March 21 to present, a $3,500 bonus. And to give 6 Sheriff's Department employees, 10 jail employees, 8 EMS employees who were hired post-COVID, a $1,000 bonus. And all other current county employees will receive the $1,000 bonus, not the Board of Education. And I've actually had some calls from the Board of Education employees asking this, but keep in mind, this is all county employees except for Board of Education. But Gerald, to answer your questions, 29, 16, 10, so 55, okay, there you go.
Fine.
That, mine was, what I was questioning was it's post-COVID, that those receive $1,000.
But also excluded part-time, right? 'Cause that's not in there.
No, I didn't.
It did in the meeting, because I watched it, I rewatched it, because somebody
It's not
told me
even,
about it.
so it's not, and it's not listed on there.
What's that? To
Part-time.
exclude, it's not listed, right? But now I will say, again, I don't want to hand these out, but there's a list right here that, well, I'll just read it to you. I mean, we've got all the jail people, right here is one, that they did include 3 employees, jail corrections part-time, that were not included in the motion. So I'm assuming they are submitting these for county court to either reconsider or whatever for
Because Angela
part-time.
said she watched it and it
I rewatched the
said,
meeting.
Right, I know, and this says not included in the motion, but I believe what it is Mr. Bowles is wanting you all to see this, to maybe reconsider and put part-time in, I believe is the case.
What about part-time in the ambulance service?
I don't think those
They got
are
a
in.
budget.
He's got a bunch.
yeah.
He does, and I'll tell you, Andrew's got his list,
Yeah.
but I don't think he included part-time because that's a slew of people.
But
Who
he
just
said,
said part?
well, he
Down
give-
employment.
he said in his motion that it included no part-time. If you watch the minutes
It's
Is
back,
that what that said?
I think the
Well, he does
minutes
leave
It
it
are
doesn't
a little
mention
bit
in
were
that resolution,
in his,
motion there.
if you watch it back, it said, and you even asked him, does this include part-time? And he said, no part-time employees.
Okay,
Okay.
so, well, and here's the thing, it doesn't say full-time or part-time, it just says employees. So again, that's something, and again, that's why I've got an attorney from CTAS coming to amend the minutes, amend this, whatever we need to do to make this correct.
I believe he's got
So-
about 20 part-time.
Yeah, we definitely need to.
So they gonna get that $500?
No,
We're gonna get
No,
1,000.
He included 911 as well.
no
In the
part-time.
original motion.
Didn't
Yes,
say-
in the original motion, 911
Whoever
is
took the
included.
minutes has probably got that off a little bit, because if you go back and review that whole
Yes,
meeting,
I watched
he said it twice or 3 times, that it includes no part-time.
But 9911 is included.
But 911 is.
I was gonna ask that too, and here's a county, you all know the county clerk's office takes care of the minutes and everything. Miss Amy that sits over here on this side, she normally does it. We'll just have to get with Amy and, you know, make sure.
Does she record that?
Sure.
Does she record the meetings?
Yes, ma'am. It's audio recorded, and then of course we have, you know, the streaming services as well, but yes, ma'am, it is recorded. So, and again, folks, that's why the letters that you guys received, when I said CTAS attorney's coming, that's why. I want to make sure we do everything, we dot our i's and cross our t's and make sure it's
We
right.
got a county attorney.
Yeah, we do, but I want CTAS here because CTAS is the one that advised us on this mistake. So I want to make sure that CTAS tells us, because they're the ones that we refer to, and if David doesn't know, he calls CTAS, so that's
So
why
I
we're
want
here.
to question that, because CTAS has actually given wrong information before. Who does CTAS get their information
From the state law, essentially, and
Okay, and
usually.
that's, I just want to make sure, because I
Sure.
have been given wrong information before from CTAS.
So have I, yes ma'am, and I'll tell you, that's also one reason that I want an attorney from
Yes.
CTAS here, not a representative,
Yes.
not throwing anybody
No,
under the
and
bus.
I'm not
just
either,
saying.
I mean,
Sure.
you don't know everything.
They don't, and a lot of
We need to
times,
make sure we have-
when you call CTAS or email them, they won't send you an opinion, they'll send you a law. And if you guys can see, I can pull it up here too, but I attached that law because I wanted, you know, I wanted some resources to back it up too, and it's there.
And I'm glad you
So-
said that, because I questioned that,
Yes,
because
ma'am.
it wasn't like that, and I didn't know it had changed in 2016, because we
Exactly.
were not made aware.
And we didn't either. I thought it would just be a no vote, and honestly, David Myers thought the same thing. We wasn't aware that the law had changed,
And
but
I kept
now we
questioning
know.
David, asking when he changed, and he didn't know, so.
Yeah, 2016, yes ma'am.
I'll get back to my previous thing. What are we going to do about the police officers' seniority raises?
I thought we put that off to July. I thought Sidney Jason made a motion.
He did,
Bring it up.
right back there he is.
No, we agreed to bring it up the next meeting. That was my initial plan, Drew, was to leave it to July,
Yeah.
but they wanted to bring it up the next meeting. Their next meeting would be this month.
Okay.
So I didn't, that was my initial plan, but it got debunked.
And if you remember too, Sydney, and if I may speak, Madam Chairwoman, I don't mean to step on your toes, but there was a grant coming down the pipe, if you all remember, and we were gonna research that grant to see if there, and here's the thing, I have asked the sheriff and his chief, Chief Deputy Brian Smith, to research this, and I've not gotten all the full details, but when Brian first looked at it, what he thinks it is the local, as in us, can get money for training, but as far as incentive raises and things like that, that's for highway patrol. That's the way he's looking at the grant. But again, we will research that and get some final information by the next county commission meeting, which will be in 2 weeks, but we'll get that. But that's why it was put off, because of that.
Well, I'll ask this, do you think they ought to get seniority raises,
No, I don't.
the rest of the committee? I mean,
What I think is
Do
the
you-
sheriff needs to have his budget together, and when it comes budget time, then he can do.
If he wants seniority
If
raises.
he wants raises, then he can get it. Until then, we just go with what was agreed on here this past July.
Sidney, here's one, what do you think?
I'm not on the committee.
Yeah, I'll make a motion if you tell me. All right,
I ain't tell you what to make, I ain't tell you how to vote, never have.
you never have.
Well, it will be no more unpopular than it is giving some of them $3,500. It says some of them 1,000. It won't be no more unpopular than that.
Well, we just break it out.
And you also have to think, you know, they've about used up their $100,000 for overtime in
Overtime.
4.5 months, so
I know.
anyway.
Is he fully staffed? Is the sheriff's department fully staffed?
I don't know, Dawn. I was
Because
told
having all this
down to
overtime.
we've got an employee sitting there, Mr. Maples, and turning red, but Chris, I'm assuming, I mean, I don't know.
As far as the jail, I'm not sure. Patrol officers, I think he likes maybe a couple of positions. He's had some recently moved to the schools and opened up some patrol positions. But as far as I know, what he likes is not just very few people being fully staffed.
So if he's fully staffed, would he have as much overtime? Or is he just having to pull for overtime because he's not running enough employees?
Well, if you divide 12 into 100,000, that's a little over $8,300 a month. And so if he's used it in 4.5 months, or he's got what, $12,000 or $13,000 left out of that? So that's about 87,000 divided by 4.5 months. It's $20,000+ a month, so. So does anybody want to make a motion?
It's left up to county commission. really.
Okay. Well, that's certainly the last time we
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah.
Any new business?
I got something, I think everything that's in 101 money should come before the budget committee instead of skipping budget committee and going to the county commission. I think we ought to get that before we go up there and let us discuss it, which we can't set, we can make motions, but county commission's got the right to change anything. But I think we ought to get a chance to review it before it goes to county commission. And I think grants too, any grant that's applied for that we ought to get and down here too, which we're getting now. I think, just like that judge, it should have been brought down here, but it wasn't, but that's all right. But anything else, any time to do with money, it ought to be discussed in the budget.
I thought if it did have to do with funds or whatever, it was supposed to be from the fund.
They're supposed to, now, they've been things brought up at county court that say, oh, we gotta have it right now. Well, the week before, you had to have it too, so I think,
Did you ever do that?
yeah.
I did too.
No, I didn't bring stuff up.
So at this point, is that a standing, I mean, everybody's supposed to know that you're supposed to bring it before the budget. So if it comes to county court, can we not tell them at that point it has to come before budget, before
Yeah.
county
You
court?
can.
You can,
We used to
you
do
can, but here's another thing too,
Okay.
just plain devil's advocate here, the budget committee is not the final say
Yes,
on
right.
anything. You guys are basically a review board to look at it, to see if it's feasible, to recommend a commission, but regardless, when it goes to commission, they can outvote you all and turn it down.
Yeah, we know, okay.
So, but out of courtesy and, to make sure everybody knows and understands the budget, yes ma'am, that's the
But
way
it
it's
helps
supposed to
us
go.
to hash it out a little bit
Sure,
beforehand, so if there's
absolutely.
any questions, they can be more prepared when they come in
Absolutely,
front
yeah.
of county commission.
And that's one of the main reasons you do it.
Yeah.
But of course, like if you all remember, in, I guess it was August, we couldn't have a meeting and we just had to approve it in county court. And because you don't have to have a budget committee, but it's there, like I said, as a,
Well, there'd be no point in having a budget committee if everything goes straight to court.
you got it, yes ma'am. Yes,
There
ma'am.
are.
And so and also what you can do with that, if it's, if it's voted down in budget and it's on the agenda, it just comes off the agenda. I mean, you can look at it that way too. For instance, if Judge Patterson was voted down tonight, it would just come off the agenda. So, and
Saves
that's,
takes a little time at county commission.
sure.
Are we gonna have a meeting next month?
No.
No.
I think we ought to. I think we ought to have a meeting at least 12 months out of the year.
Go ahead, I'll let you throw something at him in the back of the head.
I do. Even if we have to schedule them early, I really think
Just make sure I do it.
that you have.
I agree with former mayor, I think we do too.
But just don't, that's not, I like.
I mean, is there a lot that comes up that we really need to do in December?
The problem, if you all remember, when I first took office and was the chairman, we didn't have a quorum in December, because the thing is, if it's the last Sunday in November, everybody's on December, right after Christmas, everybody's away, and nobody comes to county court.
Well, can't
So
we set them up
couldn't
a
meet.
week before or something?
If you do, the only thing is, you gotta think, you got school board you gotta do, you've got all these other meetings that have to happen for us, so. Listen, if y'all want to meet, if you're just
Why
gonna
don't we
go
wait
to
and
meet,
see if there's something urgent on there and make a decision?
and that's normally why we don't, because it's not, but again, it's just hard to get a quorum in December. It just
Well, a lot of
is.
people travel for the holidays. I mean, you're hitting that between Christmas and New Year's.
You are,
You're hitting
and-
that week right there.
And keep in mind, the county commission's only required to meet quarterly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, 4 times a year is what we're required to meet, and we
You
meet
can
monthly.
believe that or not, Mayor, I was one that changed that.
You
When I
go,
was
sir.
elected county executive, we met every 3 months.
Wow.
Every 3 months.
Oh, okay, I got you.
And we had, people want to be notaries.
Yeah,
And they come in the day after the meeting, and they said, we won't be, well, it'll be 3 months before we meet again.
sure.
We started meeting every month.
Okay. Well, I'll entertain a motion if you're wanting me.
No.
Okay, let's move on to old business.
Very good
We're gonna move on
discussion.
to-
I like to discuss things like that.
I was fixing the duck, I didn't know.
Well, just like a special call meeting, see, a special call meeting, the budget committee don't get to meet on them. And why can't we meet a week before a special call meeting?
Well, everybody ponder on that for
You
next
know what I
time.
mean?
No.
Go ahead, Miss Cheryl.
Everybody ponder on that till next time.
Yeah.
Okay, we got any old business? We have any old business besides Larry?
You need a motion to adjourn?
Well, I'm not.
She's not
We
there yet.
had old business yet. We don't have any.
Well, I missed my
Stacy.
good card game, so I'm
Okay.
ready.
Next, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay, do I hear a second? Okay, all those in favor? Aye.
And real quick, we'll start financial management in 5 minutes, okay? So if you're on that committee, come on up, folks. All right, folks, I will now call this meeting of the County Financial Management Committee to order. We'll start with the invocation, if everybody will stand. Ronnie, do you mind to give the invocation, please?
Heavenly Father, we thank you for the opportunity you give us to serve our county, Father. We pray you give us the wisdom, Father, we need to serve them well. Father, we pray a blessing on each person here, each home represented. And we thank you for all your many blessings, for it's in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Ronnie. David, will you lead us in the pledge, please?
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, number 4 is roll call. Stacy, if you'll call the roll.
Jason Bailey,
Here.
David Copper,
Here.
David Cox,
Here.
Don Flafford, here, Sidney Jesse,
Present.
Ronnie Mitzi,
Here.
Gerald Simmons.
Here.
Quorum is present.
We have quorum. Thank you, Stacy. And number 5 is to approve the minutes of the March 15th, 2022 meeting. Do I hear a motion to approve minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Sidney to approve. Do I hear a second? Second by, is that David Cox? Okay, second by David Cox. All in favor of approving the minutes, let me know by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Motion carried. Excuse me, number 6 is the annual election of the chairman and vice chairman for the 2023 FY year.
Are you the chairman now, Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I nominate Jason Bailey.
Thank you, Gerald. We have a nomination to nominate me as chairman again. Do I hear any other nominations?
I make a motion nomination cease.
Okay. We have a motion nomination ceased by David Kopic, second by Sidney. All in favor in electing me as the chairman for the FY year. All in favor, let me know by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? If none, motion carries. And thank you, folks. I appreciate that. All right, now we need to elect a vice chairperson. And I believe was Janet the vice chair? Okay, so of course, Janet, so we have an opening for that, so. Okay. We have a nomination for Sidney. Do we have any other nominations?
I make a motion, nomination cease.
Okay. Do I hear a second to that?
Second.
Okay, nomination by Dawn, a second by Ronnie for nominations to cease, and for Sidney Jesse to be the vice chair. All in favor of Sidney being vice chair, let it be known by saying aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Welcome aboard, Mr. Jesse. That's just another one, right?
Sorry, we didn't ask you.
All right. Okay. As you guys can see, the next, number 7, A through F, is basically Missy's got a lot of talking to do. And here's what we're going to do, folks. And the reason that I'm sitting up here, I'm not trying to be the big guy on the bench up here. The reason I'm doing it is we have to call Kaylee Walker with CTAS, and I want to be able to put the phone here so she can hear you, you all can hear her, okay? The first one is salary calculation, and I'll give Missy the floor to talk about this. And Missy, if you'll give everybody kind of the I guess, the backstory, if you will, and I'll get Kaylee on the phone. Is that okay?
As most of you know, because I sent out a email to all of you on the day this happened, but there were some questions regarding, about the Judge Edmondson's payout when he was not reelected for judge. So I'm going to pass this around to everybody. This is a timeline of what occurred.
Hey, Sammy, take it here. No, they're just fine. I'm sitting here with the financial management group, and Missy's about to talk about the subject she needs you for. So what I'm going to do is just basically lay the phone down here, and if we have questions, I'll let you know, and then the whole committee can hear you. Is that okay? Perfect. All right. Thank you, Kaylee. All right, Missy, Kaylee's on the phone, so when you have a question for her, you just let us know.
Okay, and the main reason we have Kaylee on the phone tonight is because the statement that has brought this up completely was made to her, so I wanted her on the line so this wouldn't be hearsay. But what basically happened is Judge Edmondson was not reelected on the August 4th election. And so on 8/31, when we did the payout for his final salary, what we have to do is we have to calculate the number of days he worked this year, and he's paid for that amount of days, and then the rest of the salary goes to the new elected official. So what happened was that he was...
Hey, Missy, let me stop. Dawn, do you mind just lay my phone down there?
I wondered if you wanted me to do
Yeah,
that.
so she could, that makes better sense anyway, so there you go.
All right. So we calculated the judge's salary on 44 days, because that is how many days were from July 1 to the end of the election, which was 44 days out of the 260 worked. And we did a calculation sheet, and we have done this in the past for other elected officials that were not reelected. So at that time, I had my payroll clerk pay out that payroll, and it was significantly less than the normal payroll for that week, because salaries of the elected officials are divided by 26. They are paid 1/26 of their salary for the fiscal year. So that's really, it's not based on how many days they work in a 2-year period. It's just 1/26 of their salary. So when he worked 44, that meant that his total salary should have been $19,123.25. So to make him go to $19,123.25, we paid him, the final check amount was for $1,738.49. His normal salary was closer to $4,000. So his normal salary was $4,470.37. So he was not paid the exact amount he'd always got in the past, but it was because he only worked 44 days that year, and we had to make the salary be correct. And this is the same calculation, as I said, that we had used over and over and over again. So we paid his payroll on 8/31, and then on 8/31, I received a phone call from Sandra Edmondson, his wife, regarding Daryl's payroll, saying it was not correct, that he worked the same number of days as always. And I tried to explain that elected officials are paid by number of days worked in a pay period, that they are paid by 1/26 of their salary. She did not appreciate my response and hung up without saying goodbye. So then on 8/31, I sent a payout sheet to Daryl's email, and then I sent an email to Sandra advising that the paperwork was sent to Daryl's email address. On 9/8, I received an email from Sandra asking if this 260-day pay period is TCA code. I explained that it is standard of calculation used in payroll, not a TCA code. I tried another explanation, hoping this would clarify the situation, and showing that we were using, that if we were using days to calculate, then he only worked 6 days the first payroll and was paid a full check, so that would take up for the time that he didn't get paid a full check at the end. But that too seemed to not be sufficient. So on 9/9, I received an email with my spreadsheet attached that had marked all the, she had marked on there the way that a normal employee is calculated, and I explained once again that elected officials aren't calculated that way, so that wouldn't be correct. Okay, so on 9/9, I sent another breakdown, hoping to be clearer to Daryl's email address. Then on 9/13, on the night that we had the commission workshop, County Attorney David Myers approached me and advised that she had been in touch with him and wanted to know if I could help explain that situation. And I said I had tried on numerous times, and he said, well, can you talk to CTAS? and see if they will confirm your calculations. And so at that point, the next day, I called Kaylee Walker, who is on the phone with us now, and she agreed to calculate it herself and make sure that my calculations were prompt before she gave any reply. And she then emailed me with a spreadsheet showing the exact same total that I got, and we then sent that to Attorney Myers and asked him to provide that to the Edmondsons. At that point, I advised by email, told her that if she had any further questions, she was welcome to bring them up to my financial management committee, and that she could come here and discuss what her problem is with the salary spreadsheet. But however, Sandra then, after the attorney provided her with this spreadsheet that Kaylee made, apparently she called Kaylee, and that's what's brought all this up. I'm fine with the fact that someone doesn't understand my calculations or questions how I calculate something. I'm perfectly fine with that. But when she spoke to Kaylee on the phone, and Kaylee also agreed with my calculations, she made the comment that she, meaning CTAS, was just going to stand by and allow Missy to steal Daryl's money. And at that point, I took great offense to this statement. I felt like that was very detrimental to my reputation, and it was implying that I personally took this money, and at that point, it was no longer just a matter of me trying to explain how I calculate things. It was accusing me of wrongdoing, and that's when I brought all of you all in and sent out the email.
How much money are we talking about?
We're talking about, according to what she thinks, I believe it's $1,700. It's the difference from $1,700 to $4,400. But at that point, I took great offense at being told that I had stolen something, which was clearly not what I had done, and that's why I wanted to bring this before the committee. And I had Kaylee on the line tonight because this statement was actually made to her. So I didn't want to be saying it as hearsay. I wanted you all to actually hear from Kaylee that she actually heard this statement. And then ask you all how you think I should proceed with this situation. And I do know that she's actually gone to the mayor and questioned him about it. And I also have been, it's come to my attention that she's actually spoke to our former finance director regarding this issue as well, who also backed up that this was how she had taught me to calculate the payouts for elected officials.
Is she still contacting you on
No,
this?
I have not been contacted since that day.
Has anybody on this committee been contacted by Sandra or Darrell?
I have not. I'll tell you what I think I would do. If Darrell Edmondson hadn't contacted me himself, case is over with. And I talked to the county attorney about it, and if he is satisfied with you and the lady from CTAS, it's a done deal.
Right, and I guess my question is just that I feel like my reputation has been questioned, and so I don't know, I don't want to just let this drop, her be able to say what she wants to about me out in public, because if she made this comment in her office, others could have heard it. And with the position I'm in, I feel like this could be very detrimental to my integrity.
Well, what do you want to do about it?
Well, when it first happened, I wanted to do a lot.
Yeah.
Since
I know, but
all
you
saw
calmed
my
down
email.
some, so yes.
I have calmed down, but I do think I would appreciate my financial management committee at least speaking to her and telling her that this wasn't appropriate.
So do you think we should maybe send her a letter or something, or
That would satisfy me.
what does the committee think? Sending her a letter or something saying that we feel that this is correct? I mean, because Ms. Dyer is actually, she is the one that trained Missy, and she's in agreement, and the judge is in agreement. So do we have maybe the attorney draft something here? What do you think?
CTAS was in agreement.
Is that correct, Kelly?
Well, I'm sorry, I missed that. Was that?
He asked if CTAS was in agreement with what has happened.
Yeah, that's it. Sandra did call me, before, she called me a couple times, asking about it and stuff. I think it was before I had talked to you even. She was asking me about, the TCA code that dictated salary payments, and I told her that there wasn't one. And the way that she explained it, like regular employees are paid, it made sense. But then when you told me basically elected officials are kind of prepaid because they are paid at the same time other employees are, even if they haven't worked the whole time when they first come in or first go out. But yeah, the calculations and everything were fine, and your story was factually correct.
Missy, if it, and here's my thing, folks, and I know Missy and worked with her the whole time I'm here, and she's the type that she wants to do everything perfectly, and if she messes up, it scares her to death, and I know that, and because I'm like that too. I'm always afraid that I want to make sure we do it right, and Missy is probably 10 times worse than me when it comes to that, so there is no doubt in my mind that she has figured this correctly and checked with everybody under the sun that she can to make sure this is correct. So, as chairman, I hate to make a motion, but what I would think is we get the county attorney to write Sandra an email, or a letter, explain on behalf of this committee, explaining that the calculations are correct and Missy is correct, and go with that. So
I would appreciate that.
I'm going to second that because I think we need to put a stop to it. I mean, we just need to end this and move forward.
okay.
Well, I'll say this. Missy has done a great job
Yes.
for this committee, for this county.
Absolutely.
And if you don't believe me, come to an audit committee meeting and listen to the state auditors and what they have to say. They're still sending their trainees up here to train because Missy has their stuff together in working order. And like I said, I told her when this committee hired her that I would support her, and I continue to, and I'm going to continue to do so.
I think we need to be.
Me too.
we need to support.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. And here's the thing. If it was wrong, it would come out. You see what I'm saying? It's not something that's going to slip under the radar, and I don't know that, I don't understand, but I agree with Missy, with your calculations, and I trust your judgment.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, and I appreciate your support. And like I say, I would have been fine with the situation if it had just been a question of my calculations, someone not understanding how I calculated, but it was using the word still that.
Well, I think we just
That
need to
gets
clear it.
personal,
Yeah,
yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
We just need to clear it. We just need to clear the air and let her know that it is correct so she can move forward also.
Thank you. I appreciate that so much.
All
Thank
right,
you.
then.
Thank you so much, Kaylee, for being here tonight. I appreciate it, and thank you again for all you've done.
No problem, anytime.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. So we'll vote on this. We can count mine as a motion. That's okay. Yeah, that's okay that I make a motion. Okay, so I made the motion to get with David Myers to send Sandra a letter explaining that this committee agrees with CTAS, blah, 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 we'll make it sound right, and Don seconded that. So, and, yes, ma'am, we'll do a roll call, please.
Roll call vote.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Jason Bailey,
Forward.
David Kopic, David Cox,
Oh,
Don Flatford, Sydney Jesse,
4.
Ronnie Mitzi,
4.
Gerald Simmons.
4.
Motion carried.
Next is direct deposit form, and Missy, when you get that up, I do want to say too, you guys are fixing to get a nice little report from audit that 101 has 0 findings. 0 findings. And that is.
I wasn't part.
You're good too. But 101
It's at
is,
school.
still had 1, right? Didn't school
No,
have?
we didn't have any.
Oh, they cleared that one up?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
You're a rock star then, okay. Then it's, okay, I thought the school had one.
We do have one for sure that carried over from the
Yes.
register.
Well, yeah, but that is not 101.
That's right.
Yeah, that's somebody else. But folks, and I say that to say, this is Missy's first year as this by herself, and she nailed it. We got a clean audit, so,
We had lots of help. Thank you, though.
well, you're a rock star, good job. So, all right, Missy, direct deposit form.
Okay, direct deposit form, and I did not make copies of all of these, I hope that's okay. If you all don't like it that way, I can start making them, but I didn't see any sense in wasting a tree to change one line. Because what it is with the direct deposit form, we have been asking, I don't know if any of you all have opened up a checking account lately at a bank or at a credit union, but they give you a little card when you open up an account that's got the routing number and your account number on it. Well, our direct deposit form did not mention using that card as an ID. What we required before is a voided check or a signed bank letter. And we are finding that it's getting harder and harder to get voided checks because a lot of people don't even order checks anymore. And also the signed bank letter is becoming harder because so many people are banking online, so they're not actually getting to their bank to get these things, but they're all given this little card ID at the
Are you
beginning.
sure they're all given those? Are you sure everybody gives those?
No, that's why I've left it on here. You may attach a voided check, a signed bank letter, or
Yes,
the
because I'm
bank,
not sure
or the
everyone
bank
gives
account
those.
card.
Yeah.
Because we've had several people wanting to provide the bank card, and we've said, well, that's not on our form, so we technically can't accept it. So I'm wanting to ask you guys to vote on adding that section to this form that we use for our consumer direct deposits. So it's just adding this line or a bank account card to the already existing forms of ID.
So, and they provide you with something. Is this for employees?
Yes, this is for employees for when
Okay.
they're signing up for their direct
Okay,
deposits
so
for
you
their
know,
payroll.
okay, this, I just wanted to make
Yes,
sure.
and we have, yeah, and after our last meeting, I don't know if you all remember, we talked about that. We are no longer accepting changes by email. You have to come in and sign a form and bring us these documents because we did have that one fraudulent case where someone sent an email and we changed to direct deposit and we shouldn't have. So we now have steps in place to not do that anymore. I actually got one today. It's almost becoming an every month thing where we get fraudulent emails. People are just doing that all the time now. So yes, we do make them sign this. We confirm their ID and make sure that this is really them before we'll change to direct deposit for your payroll. But the motion I need tonight, though, is to add a bank account card to this.
So moved.
I'll second.
Motion by Darrell, second by Sydney, to add this to our direct deposit form. Any questions before we do a roll call? Stacy, whenever you're ready.
Jason Bailey,
4.
David Coppick,
4.
David Cox,
4.
Don Flafford, Cindy Jesse,
4.
Ronnie Mincy,
4.
Gerald Simmons.
4.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Letter C, federal projects purchase request form.
Okay, we recently had a, what was it?
Monitoring.
What was the name of the company though?
Christine Manasseh.
Yes, exactly. They reviewed a lot of the federal programs. The UGG is what we call it, the Uniform Grant Guidance. And they made some changes in that where it said that anything being paid out of federal projects had to be signed off on by the federal director, which is what Ronnie is. So we found that our forms did not say that. So we have added a line on both our direct payment form and on our PO form to show federal program supervisor, so that if any of these requests for a PO or for a direct payment are from federal funds, then they must get the federal program supervisor to sign off on that, as well as your department head and the finance director. So I have made a new direct payment form and a new PO or PR request that I'll be sending out to everyone if you all approve that tonight.
You want us to approve that?
Yes, please.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by Gerald. Do we have a second? Don, second by Don. Any questions on this before we roll call?
Jason Bailey,
4.
David Coppick,
4.
David Cox,
4.
Don Flafford, Cindy Jesse,
4.
Ronnie Mincy,
4.
Gerald Simmons.
4.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Stacy. D, to increase the bid limit from $25,000 to $50,000.
Okay, we've got a new increase for the bid limit from $25,000 to $50,000. If you're 81 Act County and have a full-time purchasing agent, which we do, So we can now increase the bid limit to 50,000 if you so choose, and I can present this to county commission with a new resolution. And the reason being is why I feel like they're increasing this is because of the fact that everything has gone up. And 25,000 is just no longer feasible because just about everything is going to be over 25,000 as far as large purchases. So they are moving it up to 50,000 just so that we don't have to bid so much. So I wanted to request that we do move this to 50,000 agreement.
Missy, let me ask before we vote, does this affect the quote limit? Does this still stay at 10?
At this time, we're going to leave that at 10 because I believe Ronnie and I had a discussion in federal programs still requires that, so we're just going to leave that the same at this time.
Okay, so basically, okay, from 10 now to 49,999,
It's
three quotes. Okay.
Yeah.
I make a motion to increase the bid limit from 25,000 to 50,000.
Okay, motion by Sidney, second by David Cox to increase the bid limit from 25 to 50,000. And Missy, just to make sure, this covers everything, Board of Education, the entire,
It'll be everything. The resolution that I'll present to county commission will include everybody.
Yes, ma'am, all right. Okay, roll call, please.
Jason Bailey,
4.
David Coffey,
Four.
David Cox,
4.
Don Clafford, 4. Sidney Jesse,
4.
Ronnie Mitzi, 4. Gerald Simmons.
4.
Motion carried.
E, Next Gen, which is local government, sign it software.
Okay, this is something that I don't even have a price on yet, but I wanted to bring it to you all to see if there was even any interest in this before I went to great lengths with local government. But it was suggested by CTAS, and this came about mainly because of Mayor Bailey's accident and being out of commission for a little while. And we were having to take checks to him to be signed. And local government actually offers, and I understand that several counties are already using this, but it's called Sign It. And it is where we put our signatures of our people signing checks in the system. They're safeguarded, they are encrypted, and I'll have more information on that. But most of the counties do this, and as we print the checks after they've been approved, because we, as you all know, we approve the POs, we approve the invoices prior to writing any checks. So by the time it gets to check form, it's really gone through a lot of approvals already. So what this does is as we print the checks, it will automatically print the signatures of the two signers on the accounts. And then what we can do, if you still want to see everything, of course, we'll have the reports that you can sign off on, but you won't have to literally sit there and sign every single check by hand.
Does everybody have a second signer?
Yes, at this point, everyone has a second signer.
Did, let me ask this, did the register of deeds, did they get a second signer? They're only a single signer.
It's my understanding from Ann that she was going to take care of that as the new register of
And
deeds.
she recently hired her second employee, Sydney, so I'm thinking she's getting everybody trained and then she'll take care of that. So, but I don't know, again, that's a separate account. from the
Right.
I
county.
think you would just lose your hands on it by having it automatically signed.
What do you think about this, Mary? You think we need to do that?
Here's the thing, Gerald, now as far as the checks that I sign, of course, none of us sign payroll checks anymore, that's all direct deposit. What I sign weekly are vendor checks, essentially, when we're paying bills. I probably sign 50, 60 checks a week. The thing is, of course, when I was out of commission, they would bring them to me, whatever. I do have a second signer now, another commissioner that can sign. But honestly, it does not matter to me. I'll sign checks, or if we want to do the print, we can do that too. It does not
Looks like
matter.
we get lost.
And the thing is, David signs checks along with Ronnie, so we're the 3 check signers on these big accounts. So honestly, it doesn't
And I have
matter.
no problem with it
Well,
either.
bounds, guns and signs.
And here's the thing,
That you would get
Just
out
how far is the question?
Ronnie signs a lot more than I do, but.
and check it.
Right, and I totally understand
Because when
that.
got your check truck, they're done.
And that's why I wanted to bring this to you all before I really did too much in
That's my
depth.
thought.
Say it again.
If we don't do it now, we
No.
will be doing it in
Don't
the
have a
future,
signer.
you think?
I think everything's gonna come down to being automated eventually. but-
Eventually, everything will be
But
automated.
CTAS
let's
just
keep it the way it
recommended
is.
this to
Okay.
me. Yeah, CTAS recommended this to me, and
I
that's
mean,
why.
probably if you had more than what you're doing, maybe it might be something eventually we might have to
look into, I mean.
And that's kind of what I thought your all's opinion would be. That's why I didn't really pursue it any further, but I did want to bring it to
And
your all.
probably maybe what the cost is, yeah.
Okay. We have a motion by David to leave, to basically not take advantage of the signing software. Is that okay? All right, motion by David, have a second.
I'll second.
Second by Sydney. Any questions on this? All right, Stacy, if you'll do a roll call.
Jason Bailey,
4.
David Copic,
4.
David Cox,
4.
Don Flatford, Sidney Jesse,
4.
Ronnie Mincy,
4.
Gerald Simmons.
4.
Motion carried.
Thank you, Stacy. And letter F, part-time hire.
Okay, as you all know, last year we did hire a part-time floater to come in and help for vacations and when people are sick, and that has come in very handy. She is cross-training right now. She is learning payroll for both of our payroll specialists, and she's doing very well, and we appreciate that help a lot. But as you all know from the mayor's reports, we are getting so many new grants, and the money is just increasing and so forth. So is the stuff we have to do every day in the office. And I can say that the majority of my people are in the office till 5 and 6 every night. We're all working that much, and I feel like we could benefit from another part-time person who could help with the more complex things and let that the part-timer we already have work for our accounts payable and purchasing and 2 payrolls. And then if we had another part-timer that could fill in for Stacy and I when we're out. And at this point in time, I can absorb the cost this year because Carrie left. The new hires that were hired in have been hired in at a reduced rate than what my original person was making. And also our part-time person, with the amount that we budgeted, she doesn't work every week, just, you know, kind of when we need her. So I feel like I have enough to absorb hiring another part-time person to help with the.
You got somebody in mind?
I do.
Who's your current part-time person?
Ella Johnson. She is currently attending college for finance, and she's just a very smart young lady. We're very thrilled to have her. She's.
Who's that, and Mike?
I'm sorry?
Mike Johnson's daughter?
Yes, she is Mike Johnson's daughter, and she's just been a real asset to the department. But I really feel another part-timer would help us immensely.
What are we looking at salary?
I was looking at $25,000 in benefits, and that would be working 1 day a week.
25 plus benefits?
Yes, which would end up being a total of $26,912.50, but that would be for a whole year. And obviously, I couldn't get somebody in until December. So that would just mean a partial amount. And at the time I calculated this, I was calculating through November, so it would actually be a little bit less than the $17,596 is what I had calculated to do the rest of this year. But it'll be a little bit less than that because they won't be starting until December. But like I say, I've calculated through my budget and figured where I can absorb this cost this year, and then maybe next year at budget time, we could look at adding to the budget.
I'll make a motion to hire her.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion. Was that David Cox?
David Cox was your motion.
Oh, David.
David C. and David C.
I know. And I can't hear either one of you. So, motion by David Cox, second by, was it Sydney?
No, David Cox.
Mr. Coppett.
Yeah.
Motion by David Cox, second by David Copic. All right,
That's tongue twister.
I know, right, to hire a part-time at the
Can't even
finance
go David
department.
C because.
All right, any questions? If not, let's get a vote.
Jason Bailey,
4.
David Copic,
4.
David Cox,
4.
Don Flatford,
4.
Sidney Jesse,
4.
Ronnie Mincy,
4.
Gerald Simmons.
4.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Number 8 is old business. Letter A is contract policy.
Okay, and I apologize, I do not have the contract policy completed at this time. I am working with our auditors. Amy Sauceville requested to see it after we got it done because she wanted to make sure that it was sufficient for audit and that it would pass all the tests of being through audit. And so I'm working on that, and that's why I was going to bring this up to schedule the next meeting, but I want to meet in January, hopefully to have that totally completed, and we'll know what we have to present to which bodies.
Okay,
So I'm gonna postpone that till January, if that's okay.
fine with me. All right, B, server update.
Server update, okay, at budget time last year, you'll remember I asked for an additional $5,000 in my equipment line to buy a new server, and that was the price that I received at that time. Unfortunately, as you all know, everything has gone up, and I got the latest quote, and it was $12,000. So I did not have enough money in my budget to cover that. So I called local government and told them, because it was actually our local government audit that, with our auditing company, that suggested that we needed a new server because we're at the end of life. And I'm not really familiar with all the technical stuff on that, but he suggested that by next year you need to get a new server that'll be up to date. And so that's why I called and got prices on that. However, like I say, $12,000 was well above what I requested in my budget, so I called and told them that I would be unable to purchase that this year, and I called audit and told them, due to the price increase, I just don't have that in my budget to cover. So they came back with another idea, and I may get my husband to help me on this, so that I don't say something stupid. But they came back with a lower price of $69.61, and what was it that they told me?
They're going to upgrade your OS.
Instead of getting a whole new server.
Instead of getting a whole new electronics package, she will get a new OS on the server that she has. And her server being at 5 years right now, end of life doesn't mean end of life on the server. That means that Microsoft is no longer going to support her operating system with security updates. I've got servers at the school that are 12 years old, but I'm putting new operating systems on, so I think that will carry her down the road.
So I can work out the $69.61, I believe, out of my current year budget. I think I'll just take it out of my office supplies and stuff, and just we'll make do with things as we can to go ahead and try to get that this year, so that when we do have the next audit, we can show them that we did upgrade like they suggested.
Well, you definitely need something that Microsoft supports.
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, when I got the $12,000, I was like, oh, no, we can't do that. But, and actually, there's even a few things on this 6,900 that I can, like, we have monitors that we have in the office, so I can cut that down, so that's going to take the fee down just a little bit more. And also an APC backup, which is your backup if the power goes out. I believe I have one of those in office that I can use, so I can get this cost down, hopefully a little bit closer to the $5,000 that I was awarded. But I wanted to keep you all updated on where I was on that. So I think I'll probably first of the year I'll get this one ordered and hope that it comes in by the end of the year, because it's been really hard to get things. Understand.
We don't need to vote on that.
No, I was just giving you that for your information.
All right, thank you, Missy. Number 9 is to schedule our next meeting.
Okay, I'd like to do that in January.
Is everybody okay with meeting right after budget committee? I think that's the best time to meet. So, okay, very good. So it will be the 3rd Tuesday in January, and we will meet directly after budget committee around 6:30, 7 o'clock. Everybody's okay with that? All right, anything else before we adjourn? All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn. So moved by Sydney. Do I hear a second? Second by Gerald. All in favor, say aye. Have a great night, folks.
Y'all stay here. I want to.
Thank you, guys.